also streaming to Periscope. That finally got connected. Happy to be here. Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate. So, if you are not aware, yesterday, right on her due date, my daughter in law gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. And I am so happy to report that mama and baby are doing well. I am a grandmother for the first time, so I'm thrilled. I wish I could be there. I really do. It breaks my heart a little bit that I can't be. Here's my husband.
I'm a grandpa.
He's a grandpa, and so we are really thrilled that they're doing well. She was 7 pounds 11 ounces and 19.5 inches long, so a little peanut. Um, Pretty much, I have to look. I think she was about the same weight and height as one of my kids, like bingo. So that's kind of cool. So um, really I'm just beyond words. Yesterday, I had absolutely nothing accomplished because I was on text messages with my son just to see what the progress was, and then keeping the rest of the family up to date so that they weren't completely inundated with other family members. And because of privacy and everything, I will not be sharing photos unless I get permission. And even then, I'm not sure that I would unless I was in the photo, like if I was holding the baby and stuff, because that's really that's their family, their choice, and I want to be respectful of that, as well as just security, privacy, and all of those things. If they want to do that, that's on them. And good morning, Nita. Glad that you're tuning in. I wonder, did you live stream? Because I was on Indie Volt this morning. Anybody who's tuning in, Indie Volt live. We had the breakfast buzz, and so that was with myself, Varian Grant, Randy Zimmerman, Daphne Lage, and Michael Oden popped in for just over 2 hour conversation, and it was fun. And then last night we were on Geekgasm, so head over to Indie Vault and give them a like and a subscribe. For those of you who are tuning in who might be new and are not familiar with who I am Meredith Logren. I am the associate editor over at Geek Insider, as well as the executive producer of the Geek Insider podcast. I am also one of the founding 5 members of Terraform Comics and one of the editors at Wild One Forever. So I wear many hats. I've been broadcasting on and off for probably about 6 years. Um, Never really did it consistently, although there were many shows that I've wanted to launch, and it just seems like the universe kind of came together and said, okay, this is where you are, and it seems to work. And I think that's one of the things about broadcasting that I like, is that you almost get that immediate gratification, especially when you have communities tied in already, whether it's Facebook Live. Hacks is really great as far as integrating community into the broadcasting, uh, as well as the ability uh, to live stream elsewhere. So that's kind of cool. The one thing that I do want to note, for anybody who's tuning into my Facebook or YouTube, if you are not a member of Haps.tv, I am not going to see your comments unless I go to those platforms. This is something that I've noticed over the past couple of days. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to join, and I say that because I join everything. I need an app intervention, actually, and I said actually because I really meant that. Part of the reason is because I like to make sure I log in my username because I've been using it since 1999. That's where Mayor J99 comes from. Uh, so it's one of those things where I'm pretty adamant, and I get pretty pissed off if anybody tries to squat on my username because I've been developing that for a long time. So I highly recommend that if you are at all into social media, it doesn't mean you have to use every single one of them, but lock in your username. It's kind of like that whole URL run back in the 90s where everybody was jumping on web addresses and selling them to people. It's like, oh yeah, that's your name. That's nice. Throw me $1,000 and I'll sell it to you. You know, it's just one of those things. I mean, this is the next generation stuff as far as all of the apps and things. So whether you use them or not, that's up to you. But at least lock in your name. That is a piece of advice. But so the health and wellness, health is my personal journey, and that is what I'm going to be sharing on Haps, and I put it on YouTube in a playlist. But it is my own personal journey because I am going to be 49 next week, and obviously, thank you, Captain Obvious, not getting any younger. And I got sick and tired of just sitting on my ass and then complaining that I was getting fat, and I felt unhealthy, and I could feel it. Everything hurt. My bones hurt. My muscles hurt. Everything hurt. And I was just done with myself, and then I was done making excuses. So every once in a while, I try to launch into a 30-day challenge, which helps build consistency, but also builds positive habits, good habits, and trying to break the old ones. So I am on day 40 of my health and wellness challenge where I do some exercise every day. I have done 1.5 miles. There was one day that I did 2.5 because instead of a run, I kind of did a longer walk because I was doing errands on the way. So, which is nice about living close to town and a few stores that I have the capacity to do that. Um, so I did my 1.5 miles today. I already did my apple cider vinegar. This is my live stream, so that's like the trifecta of what I'm trying to do. And then trying to get caught up on everything that I didn't do yesterday, which was more lettering for my comic book and uh, more writing. I've got some editing to do. I've got a video that I have to make, probably a couple of intros and outros too. It's like, oh my gosh, it keeps piling up. But you know what? I don't really do the Christmas thing. I don't. It's not a Grinchy thing. It's just a personal choice. I choose not to let Hallmark dictate what happens as far as gift giving. I try to do that throughout the year. I don't need one day out of the year, and it's kind of like I feel the same way about Mother's Day. It's like if you're calling me because you're my child and you're wishing me a happy Mother's Day, I'm like, that's nice, but I'm your mother, like, I don't know, since you were born. Hello? So I don't need a day to celebrate that. I mean, it's kind of cool if it's something that you want to put on the calendar, and that's fine and good. And I can be gracious about it. I do say Merry Christmas. I'm not sitting here going, bah humbug, why do you do this? Blah. To each their own. And so the theme of today is that positivity is a choice. I choose to try and be a positive influence for myself, for other people, and just if I'm going to be an example, I'd like to be a good example for people, for my children, and now my grandchild to do to say what I mean what I say, do what I'm going to do, and own the things that I do. I don't try to project my issues on other people. If I'm having an issue, I don't try and blame others because of it. I try to sit there and think about why am I feeling this way. So a bit of reflection or meditation is always a good thing. Nita says, right, I'm just getting all the BS out of my system this week. I think that's a good thing to do. And, Nita and I, we've had these chats, and I don't know if, Nita, if you want to come on here, you are more than welcome to. Um, when I was younger, I used to write like terrible, terrible things. It was just all the evil and bad and all that stuff. And I would put it on paper and I would burn it. And then it was nice. It was cathartic for me to write something, get to literally get it out of my system and put it on something, and then burn it and let the ashes fly away. It's the same thing right now. When I feel sad, or if I feel like I need to purge something, uh, if I want to cry, I don't like crying in front of people. I go in the shower and I cry. And again, it's one of those literal things where the tears are being washed away and down the drain and away from out of me and out of the house, out of my system. And so a lot of those things, I don't know whether that's an Aspie thing, Aspie meaning Asperger's. Um, it could be because we take a lot of things that are very literal. Uh, but going back to choices, I used to be a very negative person. I used to say, oh, I hate people. I hate people. Oh, people are just. It was really me and my ability to adapt and cope and things. And the older I get, the more coping mechanisms that I have. So I know just from that self awareness that if I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, I take a step back. I might remove myself and go to the bathroom if I'm in a public place. If I know that it's going to be loud, but I want to be there because it's a party or whatever the case might be, I'll put some earplugs in my ears, or a little bit of Natcan and stuff so that I'm not completely overwhelmed by everything that's happening, just like sensory overload. Anonymous for security, Dr. Anonymous, you have autism. Welcome to the club. Not that you need a club. It's one of those things that, again, I think, especially with Asperger's, most people wouldn't even know, meeting me now, that I am an Aspie. And they're like, oh, you're cured. I'm like, no, 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 no. There's no cure for it. But there is, coping mechanisms where I've learned to play nice with other people. And, I've written several years ago the mechanics of a smile, because I've had to be in front of people uh, due to working in retail, and nobody wants to buy if you're a miserable sob. You have to smile, you have to engage, you have to be nice. And so I had to learn what it felt like, what my face felt like. And this might sound weird to a lot of people. I had to learn what my muscles felt like for the mechanics of a smile, a legitimate smile that maybe had people fooled. And I know it sounds really kind of that sounds weird because it should be an automatic thing. Nita, I didn't know if you wanted to pop on. I will send you an invite right now and give you director tools. There you go. And you are invited. So you are more than welcome to pop on here. So the mechanics of a smile, it was kind of funny because when you have people coming in and out of the store, and you're smiling all the time, and it really helps if you smile. I don't know if you do that when you're on the phone, or if you even realize when you do that on the phone, you're a little bit more pleasant. Your voice is a little higher. Whereas if you're, down like this and you're kind of depressed, and it makes a difference. So engagement, that definitely helps. And then again, because it feels like my face is frozen like that at the end of the day, uh, there's Nita. Hi, good morning.
Mm,
Day, my face would be tired. It was like my face muscles did all this exercise, and I would have to tell myself, relax your face, relax your face. You don't have to put that smile on anymore. So a lot of times it feels like a mask, but again, it's one of those choices, to remain positive, to give other people uh, that feeling of welcome and stuff. Nita, speaking of welcome, welcome
thank you.
today. Did you live stream today? Did I miss it?
No, I haven't yet. I'm hungover, so I'm yeah. I'll get there, maybe.
Uh-huh. Positivity is a choice. That is the theme today. And I don't know how long I'm going to stream for. I've been kind of talking and sitting for about 2 hours with Indie Volt Breakfast Buzz this morning, and oh man, I feel like I could use a nap, but I've got so much stuff to do. Uh, okay, perfect example today. Uh, my son, he's an Aspie as well. He hates when I tell him that he's an Aspie. He hates it. He totally rejects it because he thinks that I'm trying to turn him into a disabled person. And I'm like, you're not. I'm like, but if you accepted the fact that you are actually on the scale and you are a little off, just embrace that and then move forward. Find your own coping mechanisms and things like that. And try not to be such a douche. Yeah, I said that about my own kid. He's such but it's almost like anything positive would kill him. I'm like, it wouldn't kill you to smile. He's like, well, I don't want to smile. I'm like, I know you don't want to smile. Like, the smile is not for you, okay? The smile is for other people. He's like, well, I don't care about other people. I'm like, oh, okay, I just can't argue. I hope that one day he'll get to a point where he understands that um, he needs other like human connections, not
Well,
just with me and not always argumentative.
right. Well, a lot of the things we have to force ourselves to do are for other people. Smiling for one. I'm not a big smiler. I have a awesome resting bitch face 24/7.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, eye contact. Like,
Mhm.
I don't like looking people in the face. I don't even like looking at my own face in this fucking camera. Um,
Yeah.
but I force myself to learn to at least imitate making eye contact because it makes other people feel respected and heard. So it's just quirks.
That is the key is when you're trying to communicate with people, especially if you are not comfortable communicating with people, those little tips help. Um, you know, when I was kind of muddling through, I mean, first of all, okay, so any new experience for me is very uncomfortable. I hate new experiences. I hate surprises. I've never liked them. And because everything feels new and we all feel kind of awkward and shy when it comes to new experiences, I think. Some are a little bit more adventurous than others. I think that's a personality thing. Um, but I didn't. Nobody held my hand when I was younger. I was just this odd, quirky, shy kid. And that's my dog. Shh,
Yeah, I was
you.
always thrown to the wolves.
Yeah, and then I have my really really close friends, which thank goodness for them. But and they've remained with me through the years because they were like, well, we don't care that you're quirky or odd or anything like that. It's like it's just who you are,
Right.
and that's fine and good. But when it comes to professional interactions or going for a job interview and things like that, I mean, my son, he's 25. He's got his first job that isn't with a family business. My frustration with him is that he doesn't have zero work experience. It's just that in his mind, he says, well, that's not a real job, therefore I'm not going to put it on my application. And for me to tell him otherwise, he rejects me as being any kind of an authority figure, like I don't know what I'm talking about, which is frustrating to me. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do with this kid. And so he's got to at some point be thrown to the wolves. He had a shoe blowout. And I'm like, well, there aren't any decent shoe stores around here that I can get you to. I'm like, you're gonna have to make do with a $10 pair of sneakers. And I said, and I told him ahead of time, I'm like, your feet are gonna fucking hurt. And sure enough, they did. I mean, he was like um, limping and stuff like that. I know he's got blisters and stuff, and his shoes finally came in. And but I don't know. I don't know anything. You know, he's just mad. He just wants to be. He wants to be mad. And we lost Nita. Hopefully, she gets back here. Unless it's me, it could be because it's a little windy here in Florida. But that's his choice. That is my son's choice to be miserable or sad or angry. And I've been there. I have my depression all the time. I fight it all the time. Where there are days when I tell my husband, you know, and he tries to cheer me up because he's my rock, he's my foundation, and I'm his. So usually, if he's like Zoom up there, you know, I'm kind of the grounded person. I'll bring him down, and if I'm like down in the basement or the dungeon of my own dark thoughts and things like that, he pulls me up. So we balance each other that way. But there are days when I tell him I am in a dark place. I'm like, I just want to stay here for a little bit because I've been there for so long. It's sometimes a comfy place where I just want to sit there and just sit in it. And I think that's okay as long as I don't stay in it. Uh, and then that's where my friends and my community, my husband, and you know the people that I love, and the people who love me, uh, come in. And every once in a while, it's just something as simple as a random message that says, "Hey, are you okay? I haven't heard from you in a while." And that makes it a big difference. But then it's me processing it, and that is my choice. If I want to stay in the dark place, often I do. Normally, my seasonal depression is from November through February. I'm usually offline, um, and I drop off so quickly that I'm surprised more people don't think I'm dead. Um, but I've been getting better at that the last couple of years. I've been better about working through keeping myself busy and surrounding myself with more positive people because, again, that is a choice. Nina, welcome back.
Well, thank you. My cat decided to eat my cord for my Wi-Fi router.
Oh. So, are you all set for Christmas?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Christmas got a lot better because I only have to spend it with the people I gave birth to and the dude I married. So,
Nice.
right.
And I was saying earlier, I don't really do the Christmas thing, and it's not a Grinchy thing. Again, it's one of those choice things where um, I just it in my head it didn't make sense to buy gifts for people, especially you know, for example, my youngest sister, she's got four kids, and you know, well, I mean, when my kids were younger, hers were just babies, and I'm like, why are you spending money on my kids? I'm like, spend money on your kids. You know, why are you spending gifts? You know, money on gifts for me? I'm like, I'm a grown ass adult. It won't break my heart if there's nothing under the tree. You know, I would rather spend the money to uh, buy a good meal. I'm like, you bring the booze, we'll have a great meal, we'll break bread, we'll have fun, we'll watch
Right.
movies and things like that. Time to me, spending it with people that you love, uh,
Or
that is more important to me than having something wrapped in under the tree. Having a meal, the ability to have a meal, uh, and a good one at that, with desserts and all the toppings and stuff like that. I mean, there are people who can't do that,
absolutely.
you know, so that to me is a blessing. I don't need people maxing out the cards, you know, just so that uh, I I need something under the tree. I don't. If I need something, I can get it myself. If I want something that is totally different, um, but it took me a while to kind of train my family into doing that. Just leave me out of it. It's not because I want to be a bitch. It's not because I want to be a black sheep of the family. It just makes sense. Good morning, Joe D. McPhee. Thank you for tuning in from Facebook. Put your comment up here.
Yeah,
I'm
I
still
think the
getting
gift
used to this
for the
platform.
kids, like totally. I don't mind buying for my nieces and nephews, but the Secret Santa shit and the white elephant and everything, and if somebody wants to do that, great, fine, go ahead, but don't force that shit on other people or make them feel obligated to participate.
Mhm.
That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. And
Yeah.
and and if my sister is watching, I love you. You are not the family I'm talking about. And I just need to throw that out there. I love Colleen very much.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things. Now, okay, granted, if somebody were to send me something, um, for me, when I send something, okay, it's usually with the purest of intentions. It's not because I expect something in return.
right.
When I gift something, it is to gift. It's maybe I saw something at the store and I think my son would really like that, or or enjoy it, or maybe he needs it. Maybe it's something random that he talked about and it just popped into my head, and that to me says, okay, maybe that was meant to be. But because of a Hallmark holiday, to go out there and spend so much, and then there's a lot of people I think who feel bad because, or I don't know what it is. I really don't. And again, it could be an Aspie thing.
No, I love
I don't.
giving gifts. I just don't
I
like feeling
love
forced to
I
give
love
gifts
giving
or
gifts. I'm
obligated.
I'm actually uncomfortable getting gifts.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, it's and overly apologetic people.
I'm sorry. Oh,
No, it just makes me feel awkward because it's one of those social things where I can say thank you, I can smile, but then in my head I'm going, am I supposed to reciprocate? Like what do I do? And so it's kind
not
of
if
one of
it's for
those.
me ever.
Yeah, but see, that's it.
It's
It's
not
like
gifts.
you and I have that ability to talk pretty plainly with each other, but a lot of other people, it's almost like you have to game it, and I'm like, I don't know the rules of this game.
Okay, well, I'll lay our rules out for you, right? I'll just send you shit. We won't call them gifts. We won't call them anything like that, and just be like, "Oh, look, I got some shit from Nita," and
Yeah,
and I
and
am
that's
never expecting anything in return.
right. But there are a lot of people who are out there, even my own family, where I'm just like, it's not that they've ever said it out loud or anything, but like, why did Meredith send anything? It was like, no. Let me make this very clear. If it's a holiday and you feel like celebrating, and I have the capacity to be there, I will cook. I will bring something. I won't come empty-handed, but I'm not just going to buy gifts for everybody. And again, the example of my youngest sister who's got kids. I'm like, why are you spending? I'm like, aren't you on a tight budget? I mean, aren't we all?
Right?
Spend on your own family. Don't worry about mine. Mine's covered. And a lot of times the presents seem like, I mean, unless it's a goof. I mean, I get the ugly sweater kind of thing. If everybody wants to take a goofy uh, group photo with ugly sweaters, or socks, or whatever it is that
But
floats your
that's
boat.
different.
That's different. But for for those who are on a budget, and then you feel bad because you don't have anything under the tree, and like, and so what do? You get lottery tickets, like scratch tickets, or you find the piece of junk thing just so that you have something. I don't think that's an obligation that I don't think anybody really needs. It's not a
No.
necessity, and I don't know. I don't think that's Grinchy, but it's Christmas Eve and people are like, "Oh, it's a season of giving." I'm like, the gift of time to me is everything. I would kill to have another Christmas with my dad. He's not around anymore, you know? So the memories that I have of him, that's really all I've got left of him. And so that is creating memories with people, to be able to
Right.
sit with them, spend time, have drinks, goof around. And those memories and things that I can carry with me, those last a lifetime, you know?
And that's what's important. I mean, at least to me, I mean, there are a lot of materialistic people, even within my own family. It's like, I don't know, it's not me.
Hmm. But
Um,
again, that doesn't mean I have to be rude about it. You know, again, it's one of those things. It's like if I were to get something, say
I, I,
thank you.
I've
You
been
know.
pushed into being rude about it.
Hmm.
Like seriously, backed into a corner to where it was like, I have 5 kids. I cannot buy for random adults through in the family, or that's actually taking away from what can be special for my kids tomorrow morning.
Hmm.
And like seriously, I had to just be like, no, fucking pull my name out. I'm not going to participate.
Yeah.
I had to be rude, and I hated that but for the past 2 years, I've been like, uh, I can't really do this, and I can't. But you need to, and what about you? Wouldn't your presence, and you're going to be the only one there, not opening anything. I'm a big girl. I'm okay. I'm okay with not opening anything, really.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
And and what's funny too is I think the first time that my family finally heard me and didn't have anything under the tree, it was like one of those weird things. Like I was like, wow, they actually listened, and then it was like, wow, do I feel bad about that? I'm like, let me process this. I'm like, at the end of the day, I was like, no, actually, thank goodness they finally listened. I broke them of this habit. But it was weird. It was one of those weird things where it's like, okay, who is going to make me feel like an asshole because I didn't put anything under the tree for you, but you did for me. And the first year I was just like, wow, I'm not an asshole this year. They listened. I don't know. Am I weird? Is that weird?
no, no, not at all. I mean, that's how I
Well, I
feel.
mean, but you know what, Nita,
But I'm
you are
weird. So,
weird, right?
right.
You are weird.
I am.
So
So, yeah, we need
that's why
someone
you're
else's
my
opinion.
people.
I love you.
I love you too. I don't know. It's is speaking plainly, is that rude?
No, no. Um, I've gotten to the point where I have to speak plainly because I'm not heard unless I do. And if it comes off as rude, I'm sorry. Not really, but it's that you have to have a voice. And that's one thing that's so big with me, especially this year and this coming year. I am going to speak my mind. I'm going to be heard, and I'm going to say what I have to say, and I'm going to say it how I say it. And I'm really not worried about other people's feelings right now. No one's been worried about mine.
Amen. Wow. That's like do you know how long it took me to realize that? It took me a really long time
Me
because I
too.
I've always been so worried about what other people think. And I'm like, wait a minute, they don't live in my skin. They don't walk in my shoes.
Nope.
They don't live my life.
Nope.
And they certainly don't think the way I do.
No.
Um, but at the same time, I do have to watch. I think I have to watch my language sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I do try to be very conscious or conscientious of how I speak to people and make sure that if I'm expressing something, I'm saying, I I don't like the way you talk to me, instead of being like, oh, you're such an asshole,
Or
because then they don't know that that's an attack on them, whereas they don't understand why I'm bothered. So I have to explain. I have to make sure that that's internalized and say, I this bothers me because. And then a lot of times I'll reiterate that because many times they just don't hear that. It's that selective hearing as well. So that idea of communication and stuff. But again, keeping it positive, trying not to project. There are so many people who are like, oh well, uh, I don't know. I'm just mad against, mad about the world, and everybody hates me. I'm like, everybody hates you? I'm like, I don't hate you. I'm like, what makes you think that everybody hates you? And they have no answer. It's like, well, how about maybe you're just uncomfortable in the world and you think that everybody hates you? That's
You're
on
uncomfortable
you.
in your own skin.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you have to get to a place where you're comfortable in your own skin. David Walters, welcome. Hello from Amarillo. Well, hello from Florida
and Louisiana.
and Louisiana. Um, so so yeah, I mean, a lot of that, I think positivity in a way goes hand in hand with how we communicate with each other, or,
Right.
to communicate effectively, to move a conversation forward, to find that understanding and stuff, instead of being kind of attacky, or projecting your own stuff onto other people, which is not fair. It's not fair to do that. Um,
I unintentionally come off more aggressive than I'm being at times because of my language.
mhm.
Like last night when I got fussed at. Dropping the C bomb.
I don't mind that word though.
I
I'm not
don't
going to say
either.
it here because I don't know what the limitations are here as far
Yeah,
as.
I wasn't gonna say it. I almost said it, but I was like, I better not. Um, I don't. It wasn't really an attack. It wasn't directly calling said person that, but
Mhm.
I was just stating that that's what that statement sounded like.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot, and I'm kind of offensive, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I'm sorry about that.
What are you sorry about?
Saying it last night.
And I'm sitting here going, I don't think you have anything to apologize for. Stop apologizing. I mean, because, like, really, are you really, really sorry? Is that, I mean, if the apology isn't sincere, then, screw you, Nita. Screw
Oh
you
no,
if the apology
no,
isn't sincere.
it is because I really have to consider what I say and how it can affect other people. Like I'm sorry for saying it on Geekgasm because it could have caused issues. So I am sorry for that. I'm not sorry to Shelby. But there.
Yeah, Shelby. I don't know. Do you think Shelby was just trying to rock the boat?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
And
the
it
thing
worked.
that, you know what? I know that Daphne was a lot more upset, and I went to bed. I was just like, it is what it is. There's just like not enough real estate for everybody else's issues, which makes me, that was one of the things that I've always tried to do it, and it took a long time for me to do that, and I did it with my kids, I do it with my husband, I do it with anybody. I mean, unless you are a complete insufferable asshole, everybody gets a clean slate with me, you know
Well,
I
that's good to
mean,
know.
well, and here's the secret, Nita. Half this stuff, I mean, unless it actually does affect me, internalized, whether it's in my heart or my head or something like that, half the stuff, because it's bullshit, and I do call bullshit a lot, falls by the wayside. Like, somebody will ask me something, I'll be like, oh, we had that conversation. I mean, like, it just fell out of my head because it doesn't deserve the space in there.
Right.
uh, but then there are other things that will stay in there. It's like, etched in granite in my head, little tidbits of information. It's weird, and
Right.
uh, I'm often frustrated and fascinated by how my brain works. Like, why do I remember certain things and not others?
Oh
And
yeah.
just kind of roll with it. And again, that whole clean slate is, with my kids, when they were growing up, I mean, they could have done something that was just so like, what the hell were you thinking? What are you doing? And if that carried over for a day or so, they're the they're not getting the point of the consequences to their actions. So you deal with that problem right then and there. You did this, here are the consequences, boom, it's over. uh, if it carried over to the next day, after it was addressed, then I think the consequences become diluted.
Right.
However, if they're not addressed in the begin, to begin with, then again, there's that communication problem. And what are you actually teaching your kids? It's just one of those things. That's how I did it. I know it sounds weird.
No, I get it. I do. We're struggling with our youngest right now.
Hmm.
Oh, she's got a mouth. Oh,
Yeah.
she gets it from her mama.
And you know what? Her mouth might get her in trouble at home, and that's not even going to matter. It's going to be when one of her peers call her out on it.
No, she is a saint in public. Like
See,
she's her dad in public and me at home.
why
And
can't we have our
she's
good
a side of
kids?
me that she doesn't even see. Like the side of me that I would show you or Chris freely. Like, and I'm like, where in the fuck is that even coming from?
Yes, devil spawn. I know
Right?
you're mine now.
Right? The unintended one.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. Kids, man. But so now that when my son found out that his wife is pregnant, uh, he goes, "Ma, my life is over." And when he found out that it was a girl, I laughed my ass off. I was like, "Oh,
They're the worst.
this is even better than the mother's curse, because the mother's curse obviously is, I hope your kids are just like you."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh, and she's a girl." Oh, you are so done.
Oh, girls are so much worse than boys. I see that shit online all the time. It's like boy mom, boy mom, boy mom issues and yada yada yada. Bruh, no, girls are just like boys, extra hormonal, and start being sassy at about 3 years old, and it doesn't stop until you kick their asses out.
Right, or until they become parents themselves.
Boys are gross and make messes, and they're loud, and sometimes they beat the shit out of each other.
And
I,
I relate so much better to that.
me too.
I mean, like, seriously, the one time my son sent me a photo of his poop. I was at work, and he goes, "Mom, this is the longest turd I ever had." And he sent me a picture of it. And I was just like, I laughed my ass off. I mean, I just couldn't help it. And I was like, "Do you know what my son?" This was when I was in the cube farm, and I stood up. I'm like, "Do you know what my son just sent me?" And I passed it around, and
Oh my
the
god.
women who had boys, they're like, "Yeah, welcome to the club."
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I mean, I can take the pictures of poo and the fart jokes and things like that, but when it comes to like the frilly girl, frou frou, hormonal stuff, I don't know. I just assume take them and lock them in the attic until they're 25 and married or something.
Yeah. See, I feel bad about that because my youngest is a little girly girl. She's got an attitude, but yet she likes the dresses. She likes her hair fixed and I try to do those things. I've never been girly. My mom tried to force me to be girly. Um and so it's like I try to understand and see what she wants to do and it's complicated. It's complicated. Now, my oldest, she's like me. She's happy, t-shirt, jeans, and Converse, So we click, but me and that youngest one, we butt heads 24/7. It's like, oh my god, I love her to death, and she drives me crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My middle one, he's the one who's graced me with a beautiful grandbaby, and he all of my my kids. I mean, I love all of my kids. I would be devastated. I did I disappear for a little bit? I think my
Just
internet's
for a
getting
second.
yeah, I think my internet's getting wacky. But my kids, I love them with all of my heart. I would be devastated if anything happened to them.
Oh,
But at the
absolutely.
same time, it was like this was the child that you almost hated to love. I'm like, "Oh, you devil spawn, where did you come from? And what am I going to do with you?" He was okay. So this is the defining moment when I knew my kids were essentially different, that they had completely different personalities. Okay. Um, so they were all young, from toddler to kid, and kids don't have any concept of time. They have no
No.
concept of time. So when I say you have half an hour to clean your room, they have no idea. But I said that anyway, just to give. I'm like, you have half an hour to clean your room, pick up your toys, blah blah blah. I'm
Oh, all
sitting
the
down,
time.
and I was talking to my dad, having coffee and stuff. And 15 minutes later, you have 15 minutes, and I can hear them. I mean, that's the thing. Kids don't
No, and they're
realize
not
that
doing a damn
noise.
thing.
Yeah, noise. They have no idea that the noise gives them away. We know exactly. It's not the eyes in the back of our heads. It's like we open up our ears. We know what you're doing because we can hear you. So I said, "You have 15 minutes." I could hear them play, okay, and they're playing and stuff. And I said, "Listen, if I come up there, I'm bringing a garbage bag. Anything that goes in this bag is going in the trash." Uh, yeah, okay, okay, we're cleaning up. It's like, okay. Now we're down to the fives. Every 10 minutes I was there, every 5 minutes. And then it was like, I'm coming up. And I shook that bag so they could hear me. And I'm stomping. I'm going up the stairs as slow as possible to give them an opportunity to put their toys away.
Because we're merciful like that.
And by the time I got to the door, they were just like, "Oh shit, she's here." Like, okay, you didn't hear any of the warnings. You didn't hear me coming up the stairs rattling and yelling and all that stuff. It's like, okay, now I'm at the door. And I tell you what, I picked up toys as fast as I could, and I'm throwing them in the bag because a lot of them were just broken and crappy toys anyway. So it didn't bother me that they were going in the trash. Well, my oldest one, he's squatting and he's got as many toys as he can shove in his shirt, like a wheelbarrow, and
Right?
he's like shuffling like a troll, and he's like, "We're putting them away, we're putting them away." So he's trying to grab all of his toys and go, instead of like quick, because he was super quick, but he's gathering all his toys, and he's like, "It's okay, mommy, I'm picking up my toys," and he's like troll walking to the toy box, and he puts them away. The youngest one is my negotiator. He's in front of me, and he's blocking my path, and he goes, "It's okay, mommy, see, we're picking up the toys, see, Brandon's picking up his," and he's slowing me down and stuff, and I'm like, "I'm on to you, you little shit. I see what you're doing. Okay, you're my negotiator. Maybe you'll be a lawyer." And my middle one, he's just standing there, and he's looking at me, and he picks up the most expensive toy, the one that I know that he loves, or the one that he knows that I love. He picks that fucking toy up. He walks
And put it
over,
in the bag.
looks me straight in the eye, and threw it in the bag. I'm like,
Oh,
"You
yes.
little motherfucker."
That is something my youngest would do.
Oh, and
Oh,
I
she is
just
wicked.
and I was rocked off my feet. I was like, "What do I do with this child? What do I do with this?" Oh man. You know what
That
I did when he was older?
what
Because he had a mouth on him, but he loved his computer and stuff. I basically took components out of his computer. I said, "You get to earn these back." "You're breaking my computer, blah blah blah. This is my computer." It's like, "No, well, you're using my electricity, and this is my desk, my house, blah blah blah." And I did. I started taking components out of his computer, and that it worked a little bit, you know. But
Hey,
yeah.
I gotta
Oh, I
run.
don't know.
My kids are. There's a crisis. I will tell you in a little while. All
All right,
right.
Nita. Thank you for
Bye.
tuning in. Merry Christmas
Sorry.
if I
Merry
don't talk
Christmas.
to you later.
All right. Bye.
So, but going back to the theme of today, positivity is a choice. I think the way we communicate to each other can have positive effects. It should. Um, don't be afraid of speaking plainly. Don't be afraid of being kind. I know it takes a little bit of energy. Here's the thing: we are fighting gravity every single day. Gravity holds us down. Gravity pulls me into a dark place more often than I care to admit. Or, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to be in the dark place, but it takes energy to lift oneself up. It takes energy to fly and spread your wings and do the things that you want to do. And so, with that little bit of energy that you have, if you have the capacity to do so, to look beyond yourself and help other people by being kind, by being gracious, by saying thank you. Even maybe if you don't feel it in your heart, to what I was saying earlier today, as far as Christmas, and it's not a Grinchy thing. It's more of a common sense, affordable thing where it doesn't make sense if I'm spending the same amount of money to somebody else, and then they feel obligated to reciprocate back. I'm like, that's for the sake of gifting things. But if that's the case, if that's something that brings them joy, I don't want it to. And there are people who love to just gift, and it doesn't have to be just because of the holidays, because of an anniversary or things. I mean, unfortunately, I'm one of those people who panics when my husband comes over and says, "Guess what day it is?" I'm like, "Shit! Did I miss an anniversary?" I don't give it that much weight, but I understand that he does. So I try to be more conscious of that, and gracious, and if that's his wiring and I accept that and I love him for it, then that's what I do. I go out of my way to do that, using that extra energy to throw positivity and acknowledging that other people have needs. It's not all about me, and to go beyond myself. And I find that in psychology, especially, if you are okay, then you have the capacity to help others. And I feel like in a lot of places where I am in, how I think, what I do with my time, and all of those things, it's something that I have the capacity to do, and I want to do it. Uh, but at the same time, speaking plainly doesn't have to mean rude. It doesn't have to be unkind. It doesn't have to tear somebody down. When it comes, even with editing, even when it comes to writing reviews and things like that, a lot of times, uh, if it's a negative review coming from me, I will approach the person first and go, "There are issues here. I am going to withhold publishing this." Because I just wanted to let you know. And I would rather do that than slay them in public forums, you know. And what they do with that is up to them. I've been unfriended because I've given an honest critique, and it wasn't criticizing, and it wasn't saying this is less than, but more of saying I see problems here, and based on my experience, or what I'm seeing, uh, and this is why. And if they want to go, "Well, you're just being an asshole about it," that's not on me at that point, you know. So honesty doesn't have to be negative either. That's really about it. I mean, I again, almost an hour here with broadcasting, and these were normally meant to be 10 or 15 minutes at the most. But I appreciate anybody who has tuned in. If you're watching on the replay, thank you. I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I will probably be posting at least once a day. It's part of my wellness goal and developing healthy habits. I think broadcasting is part of that because I get to express how I feel, and I use I'm using my voice more often. Uh, that's something that I'll probably talk about in the next day or so. Is the reason why I live stream. And Nita, one of the little shits pulled an output valve off of my 30-gallon fish tank and flooded the dresser. Kids. Yeah. Oh, and added shampoo and fish food to his soup. Well, if they don't do that, they'll never know not to do it again. I remember doing stuff like that, adding a whole bunch of ingredients into a glass just to make a cocktail, and it was disgusting. Did I do it again? No. You know what I also did? I've also put a butter knife into an outlet. I was younger. I didn't know that it was going to zap me the way it did, and it blew out the fuse. I didn't do that again either. So, yeah, sometimes we have to learn those lessons the hard way. That's like chapter of my life. Just do it the hard way. You know how Frank Sinatra said, "I'll do it my way." Yeah, me is do it the hard way. On that note, you guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If I see you tomorrow, great. Nita is freaking about her dresser. I know that stinks, but hey, it's water, right? It dries. Good luck with that. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.